As we've looked at cells, now we're able to look at how do those cells stay alive? What do they do? So we're going to look at two processes, one photosynthesis and two cellular respiration. But before we do, let's go ahead and review a little bit, all the way back looking at how plants and animals get their energy. Plants are autotrophs, meaning that they make their own food, which is going to help us understand photosynthesis. And animals are heterotrophs, reminding us that they cannot make their own food. They have to get their food from an outside source. And that will help us as we look at cellular respiration. So plants making their own food. They do this through a process called photosynthesis. And what photosynthesis is turning energy from the sun, carbon dioxide, and water, taking those three things, and turning it into sugar through a chemical reaction. And then their waste product is oxygen. So they're making their food, sugar, using the sun and some other products in order to be able to have food. So this process can only happen in a chloroplast, which means that it can only happen in a plant cell because chloroplasts are only found in plants. So this is what it looks like if we were to lay this process out. So this is what's called a chemical formula. And you can look at a chemical formula in two ways. The chemical formula can be written in chemical formulas for each molecule, or we can write it out in words. So this says that you take carbon dioxide, CO2, plus water, H2O. You add light energy, and I put that over the arrow because light energy is what's used to make the reaction happen. And what comes out is sugar and oxygen. So you put in carbon dioxide, water, and light energy, and you get sugar, your food source, and the waste product, oxygen. That's essentially what plants breathe out. So when those plants breathe out the oxygen and now they've made sugar, now they have to turn that sugar or food into usable energy. So both plants and animals do this because both plants and animals get sugar. Plants get it by making it themselves in photosynthesis, and animals get it by eating food. Either way, both organisms get sugar. So they take sugar and oxygen, and they end up making a usable energy called ATP. Fun fact is ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's a really big molecule that our cells are able to use for energy. I'm not going to ask you to know ATP or adenosine triphosphate. I am going to ask you to know ATP. So the way that this is made is in an organelle called mitochondria. Mitochondria takes that sugar and oxygen, and inside the organelle, it's able to do some work to create or rearrange the molecules and make adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. So let's look at what that formula looks like. So this is, again, a chemical formula, except this is the chemical formula for cellular respiration. So cellular respiration, we have our sugar, C6H12O6. So we take our sugar plus our oxygen, that goes in, and then inside the mitochondria, it's like a little factory, it rearranges the molecules into carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. So the waste products become water and carbon dioxide, and the cell uses ATP. Now, both organelles were used, both chloroplast and mitochondria, when you're looking at a plant cell. And so in a plant, those two organelles are both essential in order for the cell to make energy or to use energy. The chloroplast makes sugar so that the cell has food through photosynthesis. It also makes oxygen. And then the cell uses both the sugar and the oxygen in the mitochondria to be able to make ATP. And then that gives off the energy, the ATP, but it also gives off carbon dioxide and water. And so what goes in to the mitochondria, the sugar and the oxygen, is what comes and then is what the mitochondria need in order to do cellular respiration. And then what comes out of the mitochondria, the water and the CO2, the waste products, are what is needed by the chloroplast in order for the chloroplast to function. Now, this doesn't work this way in animal cells because what does an animal cell not have? The animal cell doesn't have the chloroplast. So in order for the mitochondria to do their job in an animal cell, we have to eat food. We have to eat our sugar. So in animal cells, the organism has to eat their sugar. They have to get their food source from somewhere else, and then it's able to go through this same process.